It's showtime. Okay, we are live. It is another Thursday, and this is Chiropractic is Sexy, and I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and let's have just a little moment for our matching hair, although mine's all hair and yours is all squishy.
I know. Well, you know what happened? Oh my gosh.
I love it.
I have a Dyson hair dryer. Now, if you guys know about a Dyson hair dryer, they're not cheap. They literally like blow from here to eternity. And it stopped working this morning. It's probably a year old. And it
I
literally
have been reluctant to buy one of those. I wanted one, but I'm like, oh,
it's been amazing. Like it works incredibly. But I'm like, wait, how did it just stop? So I was gonna straighten my hair because I normally go ponytail or scrunchie in the summer because I can.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I only have a few more days before I have to like start doing this. So I was gonna straighten and do what I do. No,
not today.
So here we are. That's what it is.
Today.
I got me to the office 30 minutes early. But we are matching.
Yeah.
Do you like my scrunchie? You got me inspired to buy giant scrunchies.
Yeah.
And it's rose gold and it's silk.
I like
it's
that.
So lovely. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So how are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Just, getting through the week. There's been a lot of interesting things come in. As far as patients go. Yeah. As far as patients go, just 2 days, but yesterday was Wednesday, but it was the Wednesday of following a holiday and it was a very Monday feeling Wednesday. So, but it was
Monday feeling Wednesday.
it was a really crazy day.
Did you have a case of the Mondays on Wednesday?
I did. No, I actually really love it. I just got up so early. So by the end of my day, I don't know, it's hard in the summertime and the wintertime, like the sleep patterns, although we try and always keep them steady, no matter what time of the year, it's just different in the summer. And I never want to close off my view. So I'm pretty much up with the sun, and the sun's rising, like starting to be dawn around 5 a.m. So I was actually up at 4:30 yesterday morning, and I was like, okay, this is really, really, really way too early.
Well, let me ask you a question though. Because I'm wide awake at 6 a.m. So it's not 4:30, but it's 6 a.m. But when that happens, do you find that your body regulates? Like, even though it's 4:30 in the morning, do you have energy during the day, or do you still feel like you got?
No, I do. Well, what I noticed is when I got home, so I did a really intense workout at the gym after I was at the office. And so when I got home, all I did was sit down and I turned on, I don't watch TV, but when I do turn it on, I just go like way low tone and I went right to sleep at 8 o'clock.
Okay, you must have needed it, right?
For 55 minutes. Yeah, my Oura Ring was keeping tabs. So I had food and went right to sleep and then got up and then went back to sleep. But yeah, I am able to. And that's a mindset. It's such a mindset. It's like Mondays are mindsets. Not enough sleep is a mindset. Not enough energy, not enough bandwidth, not enough. And, personally, this is what's come up over the last couple of weeks is like, yes, I realize you're in a ton of pain. This is personally in my relationship, but it's also like, and to be loving and kind and considerate is still a mindset. Like we can do that no matter what we're presented with, no matter how.
I call that optimism.
Yeah. If you didn't sleep all night, that's okay. You can still show up with a good mindset.
Yeah. So, and you're right. How do you look at it, right? Is your glass half empty or half full?
Yeah.
So I'll give a little full disclosure. So I have had a cold. By the way, I don't care what it's called. I'm just going to say that. It's a cold. I have a cold.
Yeah.
But I haven't slept well. I've been just completely blocked. My Oura Ring told me here, let's pull it up. Because I haven't been able to sleep and I have an old people's bed. So I have to raise my, so I'm sleeping kind of half sitting up so that I can kind of breathe. So my sleep score last night, my ready score was 73 and my sleep score was 76. And these numbers should be in the 90s. So yeah, I did not have great sleep, but And Dr. Erica was gracious enough to say, we can do this, you know, we can move this if you're not feeling good. And I'm like, this is great, right? It's, you know what it's like. It's like you get up and you're like, I look forward to it. And it's actually, I feel like this is like healing vibes for me. So
It's totally healing
I
vibes.
sound weird. It's because of that.
So we have mentioned the Aura ring. Her and I have both mentioned it. And if you guys don't know this, look this up, OURA. And it gives great data every day. It's like having a Fitbit but it's a ring shape. And it's interesting how many people know about it, but also how many people don't know about it. And what we love about it is that it is very much, it's low profile, and it doesn't shoot EMFs around our bodies on a regular basis. It's just taking some data and it's putting it into an app on our phones. And then we both of us have a discount. So if you look at it, it just comes up on the phone. She was talking about sleep data. So it gives you like all the sleep, 7.5 hours, pretty legit. Although I was up, it's because it added my nap in there. But anyways, it gives all kinds of great data, and we both have a discount code if you guys ever need one. I think it's like $40 off or something.
Yeah, you get $40-$50 off.
Yeah, so reach out to
right. The whole low profile. I want to wear a pretty watch, right?
Yeah.
I want to wear a pretty watch. I don't care what blingy strap you put on an Apple Watch. Guess what? It's still an Apple Watch.
Well, my brother has a burn spot on his wrist, like this big from the Apple Watch.
It's so crazy.
It's not okay to be wearing those things.
I tried a Fitbit years ago, and the thing never kept good track of anything. Yeah. And it was uncomfortable. I was like, no, I want to get, it's kind of like the end of the night. I get home. I want to take the bra off. I want to take the watch off. I want to take the jewelry. Like everything's got to come off. I don't want this. I don't want to be, I feel like I'm handcuffed. Right?
Yes. I don't wear anything on my wrist that I can't.
I love my watch. But it also keeps me on track. It's the easy way to check your time when you're with patients to make sure you're staying on track.
Yeah. I don't realize I'm constantly looking at, so my touch screens are right by my, I'm doing my notes on my touch screen, but they're right by my tables. And I constantly, I don't realize how much I watch the little ticker, like the little teeny tiny clock in the corner.
Yeah. I know. I need to have little clocks around the office that patients can't see. I don't think people wait by any means. I mean, I think the most anyone has to wait in my office on a busy day is maybe 10 minutes. We're pretty darn efficient. Yeah. I do my best to, and Erica, I know you're the same way. Like we just respect people's time. Yeah. Which is why we like appointments. I will take some walk-ins, but if people walk in, they know that people have made appointments and they're gracious. Yep. And they're like, I'll wait. Like it's such a great culture to have of people who just respect your scheduling, right? Oh, yes. Hey, Howie, how are you? Nice to see you. Howie was eating a giant bowl of blueberries this morning on his live. It might have been yesterday. I can't remember, but I jumped in for the replay. But yeah, they looked at me. I'm like, I could eat a gallon of blueberries on a daily basis. Freaking brain food, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I was just thinking about that. I saw a new patient this morning, and one of the things, so 1 per shift is how I see my new patients, and they're in and amongst everybody else. And what I tell them, because you use the word efficient, and what I tell patients is I'm like, it's going to be wild around here. It's going to be very chaotic. It's going to feel chaotic. We always have the right amount of time. I always have time to answer questions and all of that. So some people are like, well, some chiropractic offices, people feel like they're moving through like an assembly line. And I got to tell you, in order to fit chiropractic into your life regularly, as it should be done, we need it to stay efficient. It doesn't mean fast. It doesn't mean compromised care. It means efficiency. And Dr. Paula and I are 2 chiropractors that 100% respect your time. And we realize you respect our time. And we just really appreciate that. So I love the word efficient when it comes to chiropractic care. And ultimately, I mean, as we can just kind of segue right into a conversation, is that our bodies work way more efficiently. if we are regularly adjusted. So yeah, just kind of want to segue over to our innate intelligence here.
Yeah, I'm
So
having a lot of those conversations lately. You know, it's like we ebb and flow. We're always educating in our offices, but you know how like sometimes you just feel like there's more higher levels of or more frequency of education that has to happen on a daily basis. Like some people need you to explain something multiple times. Some people get it from the jump, but you still need to keep the messaging there so people understand the purpose of why they're here. And I think it's just such a great point, because there are people who are like, oh, it's just a mill. And so you have to recognize too that, yeah, we want everybody in your chiropractic care.
yes,
I had a good friend of mine who I was getting adjusted by, and I would go into his office and I would be waiting 45 minutes to an hour before he would adjust me. And I finally, like, I told him, I'm like, I can't, like, you're such a great adjuster and I love being here, but I'm like, I can't do
can't do
this.
it.
I don't have an hour twice a week to give to you like that. Like, I want to be in and out. I want to get my adjustment, maximize my nervous system, and get on my way,
Right.
which also sounds a little, racing and stress, but that is an inefficient use of my time to wait
Right.
in someone's office.
And so
Right.
therefore we don't make anybody wait either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We really get it. I had a patient, okay, so kind of a story, but the end of the story, and there's still more coming, but they needed to get this woman. Okay, let me back up. She started care with me in February of this year. She is, I want to say upper 70s, but she's definitely in deep dementia and brain issues at this point in life. So she ended up, what did she have? She had like some sort of, maybe like a UTI that landed her in the hospital. And then she went to a short-term care facility. At that short-term care facility, so I saw her like 2 or 3 times, and then she took a long break from care, but it's because she was having this other issue and having to deal with short-term care. So they came back. Her daughter called me the middle of April, and she started coming back under care. And I'm like, something feels different. Like something about this, just it's different. She has this injury. She had a fall. She's in a wheelchair. That's been going on for a while, but they sent her home and she had a lift at home. And so they did x-rays back when her initial fall was in February, when she first started coming in. Her x-rays were unremarkable, negative for any fracture or whatever. So anyway, I started care with her again in the middle to the end of April, and I've been seeing her weekly. So 2 weeks ago, I'm like, we need to send out for further imaging. Okay, so the imaging comes back from that one, and she says, this is how it read, complete destruction of the left hip. I was like, radiologists don't write complete destruction of the left hip, right?
Holy moly.
So I get this, and I'm like, where's the comparison study where they said everything's fine? So
Yeah.
she was at this short-term care facility. Something happened. Nobody said anything. So she's dealing with this. So anyway, we sent her to the ER 2 weeks ago because the ER is going to get her onto an ortho faster than waiting and calling an ortho doctor. So anyway, this patient calls, and this is what I'm talking about with efficiency. So this patient gets on she wants to know what's going on in the Genesee County. I think they were headed up to McLaren. She gets on the website, and you can check in at the ER before you get there. So she checks in at 9 a.m. and they said, okay, wait 1 hour and we'll be ready for you. Then she's getting these messages, we're on 20-minute delay. We're on another 20-minute delay, 20-minute delay. So they show up like 2 hours later, 9 hours sitting in the ER with this woman with complete destruction.
Wow.
And she's dementia. And so anyway, the reason why I say this is because I am hearing, this is an extreme case, but I'm hearing regularly people having appointments, going into offices and having to wait 2, 3, 4 hours for a 9 a.m. appointment. There may or may not be seen by noon or 1 p.m. It's really not okay. And we both pride ourselves in the efficiency there. So just want to get you in, get you out. But we're also watching for things like this. Like, okay, send this patient back out for imaging. Like something is sideways. And I'm like, wait, how did they call this complete destruction of the left hip? How do they call this normal back? But that's how quickly something can change without, this other patient was in earlier today, and she's like, well, they haven't called me about my shoulder. And I'm like, okay, you need to call them. And
Mhm.
I had a really deep discussion with a patient this morning. I'm like, you and you, whoever's listening out there, become an extreme advocate for yourself. You are not bothering offices anymore. It's been over the last 4, probably 5 years, maybe I've seen it beyond 6, is you balls dropped everywhere. Be an extreme advocate. That means showing up, getting on someone's schedule, showing up to the office, putting yourself on someone's schedule rather than calling. Press 1 for the operator. Press 2 if you're press 3. Like, stop. Be an extreme advocate for yourself.
Walk in person if you have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always tell my patients, whenever you have any kind of lab work, special testing, anything, you want to request those records because now you have the opportunity to go back and compare yourself.
Yeah.
You might not know what the medical terminology is, but you certainly could read complete destruction. Like, what
Oh,
that means, right? There's no mincing those words at all.
nope.
So always, always, always get in the habit. And people are like, oh, it's in my portal. I don't care. Download it. Because you
Yeah.
never know.
Download it,
We've
print
got,
it.
Ascension Hospital, it's like 27 or 37. It's a lot of hospitals all across the Midwest. They're in they had a cyber attack, that's ransomware. And they're having to they are still 3 weeks in now using pen and paper. So people can't get into their portals. They can't get that information, and they're rebuilding the system. I have a patient who works there. And I go, well, what are they going to do about past records? She's like, I don't know. And I said, the problem with ransomware with hospitals is that they kind of have to pay it if they want to get their documentation back. But
They're
where's the
refusing.
backup?
They're
Where's
refusing to pay because I have patients that
is
work
it?
for there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 140. This is hearsay, and it's obviously going on our record, but whatever. 148 million is their ransom, and they're
That's what
not going to pay it.
she didn't know what the ransom was. Yeah.
They're not going to pay it. They are just going to rebuild and get into a new system. So I don't know how that's all of a sudden. We are by law required to keep our records for 7 years.
Yeah. How's
So
that
now
going to
all
work?
of a sudden, like, this is going to find a loophole around that. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't.
Oh, and let me throw
understand.
another wrench at that. For minors, our legal obligation is 7 years past their 18th birthday.
Hmm.
So if you just get evaluated or whatever, or your 10-year-old has a broken arm, they are obligated by law to keep those records 7 years past the 18th birthday. So what are they going to do? I have no idea.
I
No
don't
idea.
know. I don't
So
know. And it's,
download that stuff, get it on paper,
yeah,
keep it
put
in
it
a
on paper.
file in your home.
Yep.
I've got a folder of every test I've ever had.
No, I do too. I have
You know,
all, like, just some medical, and
yeah.
then also you got to take it with you because it used to be
Mhm.
that people could just, your provider could just pull from somewhere, and they can't always do that. And then they'll show up and they'll want to redo something where you're like, I just got that drawn, or I just got that image done, or whatever, and just have
Mhm.
that on you.
Mhm.
And also just know that, as we talk constantly and continuously here, being proactive about your health in general ahead of time. Of course, that's an extreme case that I was speaking of, but being proactive about your health every single day, every single time. Someone was saying the other day to me, I was like, your magnesium doesn't work. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, what do you mean magnesium doesn't work? Like,
What did they mean?
it takes a year for you to rebuild deficient magnesium stores. Like, it takes 1 year of regular and continuous. I'm like, that's just not how things work. Our bodies are like an accumulation and of the habits that we do on a daily basis. And by changing a habit starting today, and multiply that out by 5 years, 10 years. This is why we're here every week. We multiply that, whatever our change is now, by 5 years. We have a significantly different life. We multiply taking Diet Coke out of our life by 5 years, by 10 years. We have a significantly different health status by 5 years and 10 years by making those little tiny habit shifts. But we have to do it every single day. Patients will be like, hey, doc, I drank, 64 ounces of water yesterday. I got an email like this. I'm like, great, start again today. Like, I don't have a cookie for you. Start again. It's every single day.
Well, and I had a couple of things too. I had a patient this morning who's got some autoimmune issues, and she comes in every time and she's chewing gum. And I always make people spit their gum out because I'm like, I'm not going to have you choke on your gum when I'm trying to adjust you. So we're not doing that. And so I asked her, I said, do you always chew gum? And she goes, yeah. She said, I always feel like my mouth is dry or I have bad breath. And I go, yeah, that's coming from your gut. It's because you have autoimmune issues, and, went through that, a little explanation. And I said, listen, if you need to chew gum, so people don't understand how highly toxic gum is. Yeah. And so you have to make, again, it's a shift. It's a choice of you've got to buy a particular type and brand of gum that doesn't have the chemicals in it, that is sweetened with xylitol, so that you're not damaging the biome of your mouth, right? It's so important. And that was the second oral conversation I had with a patient. I had another conversation with a patient who, and again, this is why we're here, because we have to shift. You guys have been indoctrinated with this like mainstream terminology, practices and procedures and things that you should adhere to, thinking that they are serving you, when in fact they are not. And that's why Dr. Erica and I are here to help give you another way to look at things. So the other patient had a blocked saliva gland. And she had to go in, and she had to, they had to get in there and, express it and it was disgusting. Anyway, and she said, the same patient told me two things. She said, because of my cold, and something came up about pink eye. And she said, well, that's how you get pink eye. And I go, how? And she said, blowing your nose and getting snot in your eye. I go, what? I go, where did you hear that? She's like, that's not. I go, we would all have pink eye. Are you kidding? Yeah, people blow their nose every day. So that was the first thing she said. And then she said about her blocked saliva gland. She said, that dehydration causes that. And I go, does it? And I said, let's talk about oral health. She goes, oh, I'm good on that. I brush, I floss every day. I use my mouthwash. And I go, yeah. I go, what kind of toothpaste are you using? Sensodyne. Okay, you know how many chemicals are in there? There's probably 37 different chemicals that you are putting in your mouth. And I go, your floss has the same chemicals on it as Teflon pans that we shouldn't be using. And she's like, I go, you change the biome of the mouth, you will change the health of everything that's functioning in there. So it's just interesting, like, where people are getting their ideas of what causes what. And again, indoctrinated into, I brush and floss every day without even thinking about the chemicals you put into your mouth. I'm like, no, we can't do that anymore.
I know. I had a patient yesterday, and she has been, so she's a single mom. Single mom by choice. And her son is 15 months, I think. And she is just on and off with these sleep patterns for herself. And she was following, like, she's really looking like outside for an answer to sleep. And it's like, well, for one, our world is really sideways. For another, you have a little one. And for another, nobody has the actual answers. Well, and then so she, off of a social media influencing of some sort, she found this sleep doctor up in Saginaw and went there. And she's like, I am so disappointed in my appointment today. And I'm like, I totally get it. And she said, all he did was do a telehealth visit and then write me 2 scripts by like 20 minutes in. I'm like, okay. So I want to like.
Was it sleep for her or for the baby?
For her. But probably, you know what I mean? It was just for her. So he wasn't prescribing for an infant, but I just want to blanket statement our entire existence of like, if you are looking for drugs, radiation, or surgery, you want to see an MD. Drugs, radiation, or surgery. Aside from those three things, if you're looking for anything else than drugs, radiation, and surgery, you have to be looking somewhere other than than an MD. Like they don't know anything aside from drugs, radiation, and surgery because they don't have the time for it. That's not what they were trained in. There's a lot of different reasons they get kickbacks and all those kinds of things too. There's a time and place for it. But unless you're looking for drugs, radiation, and surgery, you need to start looking towards chiropractic, acupuncture, other body workers, nutrition, and all of those other things. Like you really, and I'm just going to say that blanket statement, like you have to be asking the right people the right questions. And you're barking up the wrong tree if you're looking for, it's like, I need some electrical work. Let me go to a plumber. Like, let's stop doing that for the body too. Like, I don't want drugs. Then stop going to a drug dealer. And I'm
Bang, drop the mic.
But nonetheless, same.
Well, and I see I got a question by today from a patient who's in the chat, and he had asked me. He said, "Will it ever stay in place?" And he's relatively new to me in chiropractic, so he said, "Will it ever stay in place?" I said, "It's a great question." And I said, "The reason you're here, the reason that you got where you got, is because of life." So, and we went through the physical, chemical, emotional stressors, everything that led up to it, like layers of an onion that got you to where you are today. And there's damage, right? It's like there's compression fractures, like the cervical curve is reversed. There's degeneration. There's it's all those things that didn't happen. That was years and years in the making. Maybe a fall off the bike at 5 years old, started the process. Maybe birth. We don't know. But the whole premise of that conversation, and it is a great question. Why do people continue to go? Will it ever get in place and stay there? No, because I'm going to correct it today. And then you get to go out. And I think he said into the shit show. He might have said that, but I'll say that too. But it's so true, right? So you're going back out into the very environment that created this. And we're here to try to correct it and make your body, let's go to efficiency. We need to get your body as efficient as possible. We're never going to be 100%. We're never going to be what we were, 20, 30, 40 years ago, whatever it is. But the object is to optimize and create greater efficiency. And so when you're out in the world in all of those stressors, then that's why people come back regularly. So I'm curious how you would answer that question for a patient. Like, will it ever stay in place?
Yeah. I mean, I
answered that question.
Yeah. So from age 12 to age 40, those 2 years. So when we were 12 years old and when we're 40, we heal 60 times slower at age 40 than we did at age 12. So this is, we'll constantly go back to this. So eat well, move well, think well, drink your water, get your rest, and get adjusted. So let's just say you have a really crappy diet and your body is spending all of its time trying to heal the inflammatory processes that you're creating on a daily basis. Guess how much time it has to work on other things that you're feeling yucky about? Like if you're constantly and continuously putting inflammatory things into the body, you're going to constantly and continually be creating, and then your body has to constantly and continually be trying to heal that rather than getting to the musculoskeletal stuff. It's more concerned about your vital organs. So if you're bombarding them, insulting them, assaulting them on a daily, so that's why we talk those 6 things: eat well, move your body, drink your water, get your rest, get your adjustments. And so will it stay in? It's more, I don't really look at it as moving bones in and out. It's more of like your body was bombarded with too much stress and it clamped down and created torsion inside of the spine in order to deal with whatever it was. And 3,000 falls by the age of 2. Let's just pretend that it started there. Not even pretend, but that's really when it does. And then we go through our life and we do all the things, right? And we have a lot of sitting jobs. We have commutes, we have family, we have sports we're trying to play at all different ages, all that stuff. And so I don't wrap I would love this. I was just thinking, what would create the most ideal aftercare for chiropractic adjustment that would help it, quote, stay in or not bombard our system? The only way that we could do this is if we sent you, we had 6 weeks of intense care, followed by another 6 weeks. So we got some really good, like, corrective movement back into the spine and nervous system. Then during those 12 weeks of care, we don't let you do anything else except for move properly, move your body, drink your water, blah, 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 not go through life. Bubble wrap you, send you off to maybe Bali, minus the travel there, and let you just wander around in nature and eat lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, have lean, beautifully created, bioavailable foods, all the great whatever. We don't live like that. So after those 12 weeks of intense care, the very best thing we can do is making sure that you start to change the lifestyle stuff. Change this for that. Change your Diet Coke for water. Change your sitting on your behind on your phone doom scrolling to getting out and being active and getting connected with community and starting, like, all that stuff. It's all of those things. So, and then we set you up on some sort of regular care of your spine and nervous system, because after you have your dental cleaning, you don't stop brushing your teeth. After you have your blah, 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 you don't stop continuing to maintain that. So it's not that it pops in and out. It's that our system's so bombarded that it torques down on us. And we don't get, like, I had this new patient this morning, like, she had major injury with her ankle in 2019. She had, like, her ankle, she stepped wrong on those wedges, and, like, her ankle went, like, sideways, like the bone came out, and she has plates and screws and all that. And it's like, once, like, we all have our accumulation of life things that come up. So, like,
yeah, I know.
Excuse me, get on my soapbox. I'm like, have
Don't get me started.
full permission to get
Don't
on
get
a
me
soapbox
started. Yeah.
here. It's been so fun.
Well, and this is Rob was the he was the one that asked the question, will it ever stay?
Yeah.
So I thought that was appropriate. And Rob, I hope hearing it from another angle was helpful as well. And it's just so that's why I thought I love asking you the same question, because you and I, we will get to the same answer differently.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is, oftentimes people will hear the message based on who's talking. So so that's a great answer. And yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and I just told them straight up, I'm like, no, it's never going to stay because of life. Like, and this is why you have chiropractors, so we can keep you doing life, keep you doing life efficiently, effectively, vitally, happily, everything that you need to be doing to get in this world. And then that allows you to relate to other people and relate to the world and create, I was talking about creating that legacy. How are you walking around in the world? You mentioned first thing about mindset when we first got on here, that some of you weren't on here when Dr. Erica said it's about mindset, right? How do you show up? What is your mindset and how you show up? If I have a cold, I am here, I am showing up, I am at the office, I am taking care of people. And I'm so happy and grateful to be here, because it gives me energy and it makes me feel happy to be here serving you. So always keep that in mind too. Mindset, nervous system, sleep, water, movement. You will feel so much better as a happy human. And you all have been around people, right? Remember years ago, I've heard this where it's like, are they the kind of person that when they walk into the room, they light up the room? Or do they bring darkness and when they leave, the room lights up? What kind of, right?
What kind of person do you want to be?
What kind of person do you want to be? Yeah. Do you want to bring the light and the energy? Or do you want people, when you leave, and we've all been around these people where you just energetically, you're like, ugh, I cannot be in the presence of that person. And so you do what you can to avoid them. So, I think it's just that mindset piece was a great comment to start with.
Yeah. So the other thing is, I talked about like 6 weeks of intensive care, another 6 weeks on top of that only just begins to start getting things unwound. And then we can look to the science to help us figure out how do we maintain from there. So do you have to come forever? 2 to 3 weeks. Like, why would you stop investing in your internal resilience? Once every 2 weeks is once a week is awesome. I don't go less than once a week getting adjusted, but that's my personal choice because I know how deeply beneficial it is to get adjusted. And
Mhm.
so, but then at 2 weeks is like just an incredible way to stay ahead once you're really feeling good. And I had this patient in this morning, and he's been under my care for a very, very, very long, I don't even know how many years. But I said, Joe, you took 5 weeks off of care when we were doing so good at regular. He had an issue hunting last year that set him back for a while, like a while, to a place where it's like we're just not healing like we used to because we're just not capable of healing like we were when we were 12,
Yeah.
right? So that's part of it. But I said, here's the thing. I know that it's difficult to get in and get like adjustment and massage. Our office is difficult to book massages with. We're booked, we're packed there, and it's just hard. That's not where the magic is. It feels amazing to take a time out. Dr. Paula and I love taking a time out, getting a massage, taking care of our body in that way. We wouldn't skip our adjustment. If we had the adjustment or the massage in a week, like we had to choose, like I can only do it's the adjustment every hands
All day
down
long.
every
Yep.
single time. That's
Yep.
the most beneficial. So I'm like, just because we can't get you in for a massage, you're setting yourself back when you get to this situation where you're back on ice, you're back this, you're back that. He has a very physical job. He's a physical guy. He's in very good shape. He's all over the state, like up north for times, and just he's everywhere. And he's incredible, and he's healthy, and he's probably 60. He's probably 60 right now. And I'm like, we need to consider never stopping. If the massage fits in, great. We need to consider never stopping the adjustment because now 5 weeks in, you should have been here 3 weeks ago. And I'm telling you, and Dr. Paul has been in practice for 26 years. I've been in practice for 20 years. We can tell you, don't stop, no matter what. Figure a way to fit it in. It's one of the most beneficial things you can do because you're adding to your internal resilience every single time you get adjusted. Every single time, no matter what. It's like gravity. Gravity works no matter what. Adjustments work no matter what. It's just how it goes.
Yeah. I mentioned to a patient this morning about getting adjusted because I'm sick. And she's like, oh, why? And this is a patient who she's been a patient for a handful of years, and she comes every 3 weeks, I think.
Mhm.
Which in my opinion is not enough for her, but I'm grateful that she comes
Yeah.
consistently. I'll say consistently. I don't know if I categorize that as regular. It is regular, but it's consistent, right? I would rather, if you can only come once a month, you need to be here once a month. I would rather you come a little more often, but consistency, right, is where it's at. So I had mentioned to her about getting adjusted because I'm, have this cold, and she goes, oh, why is that? And I said, and then I went, ding, ding, ding. I have not been, and I think um, to my fault, when you have people who are regular like that, I think we forget that, like, we just assume they get it because they're
Mhm.
here. So that was just a reminder for me that it doesn't matter who it is, if it's somebody new in the practice or somebody who is seasoned here. I have to be explaining the message of chiropractic to everyone every
Mhm.
single time. And I explained to her how we get increase in T cells. It boosts up the immune system. It clears the nervous system so the body has a greater self-healing capacity. So this isn't just about neck pain, back pain.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got tension in my neck because I'm all congested. It'll help my sinuses to
Mhm.
drain out. Your lymphatic chain is all in here. So when you get, and lymphatic chain is a massive part of the immune system. So when you get this upper cervical adjusted, it actually stimulates the lymphatic system. It
Mhm.
stimulates drainage. It stimulates healing. So getting adjusted is a critical part of any kind of scratchy throat, sickness, anything, allergies. Is that a train?
Yeah, can you hear it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I thought somebody was playing music in the background. I'm
You
like,
know what
no.
I love when trains go by? I think about sending prayers out on them or sending like
Oh yeah.
gratitude, like all along with them, like send your wishes,
Yeah.
give them some motion. Yeah. So I always think.
And go a little faster so I can get through the light.
And get out of my way. You're a subluxation in my day.
Exactly. Oh my
No,
God.
that's
We
awesome.
haven't even read our principle.
I know,
Let's see
you know what?
if the principle
I think this
aligns.
is the week that we skip a principle. I think we just hold it for next week because it's so
Okay.
good. It's the mission of the innate intelligence, which I definitely don't want to breeze through on that
Okay.
one.
Let's put that out. And that actually goes right in alignment with what I'm talking about with keeping it clear, improving
Yeah.
immune function,
Yep.
improving
Yep.
overall efficiency, all of that. So yeah, we'll bump it off.
Yeah, we'll just
I
be
don't
like,
think
well,
y'all will be disappointed because we're just here doing our thing anyway.
yeah. No, it's totally fine. I mean, and we just started going and we just have gone. And the bottom line is, well, I wanted to just follow up with what Dr. Paul is saying about the immune system is you can bank on this. The immune system is boosted 300 times with one adjustment. So that means guess who's going to get through things faster, get through colds, flu, all the things faster? More adjustments. Like if Dr. Paula and I lived, let's just say her and I practiced a mile down the road from each other, or we were somewhere, we're 45 minutes away, 40 minutes. Well, construction, it's difficult.
It's an hour at this
It's
point.
hard.
Yeah.
If we practiced close to each other or we lived close to each other, we would be checking each other at least twice a week. We just would.
Yes.
And when
Well,
she's
let's just also establish that if I lived up near you, I would be practicing in your office. There would be,
yeah, for sure. You practice just jump right in because I have space. But also like, if she's feeling the way she's feeling, because I know personally how she's feeling because we video all the time together. She is doing an exceptional job. And as you can tell, just her serving everybody today in this capacity is lifting her entire energy of her entire body, which is going to affect her entire afternoon. And I know she has an event this evening, but I can tell you if I was feeling the way that she's feeling right now, and I have on here in the past, it would be like, hey, I'm going to come in the morning, I'm going to adjust all day, and I'm going to see you at the very end of the day too. Like we would do that. That's how we would get adjusted when we're not feeling good. And it just is a tremendous benefit. So
yeah, that's a great point. How often do we see people twice a day when they're either not feeling well or they're in extreme pain or some kind of acute injury, something like that. So yeah, so important that we increase the frequency. And Dr. Eric and I both have had patients who've been under regular maintenance care, but then something happens and we're like, no, let's back it up. And they're maybe they were coming once a month, once every 3 weeks, 2 weeks, but now it's twice a week.
Yeah.
We got to get you over this hump. So it's kind of like, and I hate to use this analogy, but it's kind of like if your medical doctor had to adjust your medication for some reason. That's all we're doing. We have to adjust your chiropractic care in order to fit in with what your needs are in that current moment or that time. So that's why, once you're under regular chiropractic care, that doesn't mean you're never going to need more, a higher frequency.
Right.
It's not, and some people will walk in and they'll be like, I've been in pain for 2 weeks. I'm like, why didn't you come sooner? No.
Yeah. So one of the things too is that when you're out and you do have a setback, if you've been under regular care, your body is able to adapt and adjust easier to whatever that setback was. So because, we've been adjusted forever, not that we get to zoom through illness, but we kind of do. And the people that are under regular care, they're like, I haven't been sick in years. Yeah. Like I've not been sick in years.
Or
I'm
just
not
a
saying
little
that
cold,
for me
right?
because we're exposed to a lot of people, but if I were truly, I've just built a lot of internal resilience, and it's all the other choices of the week that I make as well. Like I woke up this morning, I was sore as could be because I kicked my own behind yesterday in the gym. And I know that I haven't had enough water in the last 24 hours. And I'm like, I am super sore. And I feel so bright and light inside. And you guys can probably, you can probably see it from us. Like, even though Dr. Paul is a little bit compromised with our immune system, like we're still hitting on all cylinders. We just are, because we spend a lot of time off time to make sure our on time is good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, it is 1:46, and
No,
in
so
the
fast.
respective time, we talked
Oh,
about respecting time.
yes.
We will see you guys next Thursday. I'll see you Sunday for Sunday Night Live, and right back here for Reset Monday. So thanks so much for joining us, you guys. It
Love you
really did lift
guys.
me up to be here for you. So please share and like this if you haven't already. And we're continuing to grow. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so
Bye.
much.